Hi, I'm Randy from Truck Bed Treasures. For 40 years, Cheryl and I have been digging through basements, attics, hoarder houses, barns, anywhere where we could find and unearth treasures and put them back in the hands of the people that really appreciate what they are. So, if you're watching this video, please watch it to the end and subscribe. We go on a lot of adventures and misadventures, and we're inviting you to come with us on every one. Thanks. Enjoy the video. Appreciate you hitting the button to watch my video. This is Truck Bed Treasures, and if you've been following us, you know we have about, I don't know, a lot of totes from a hoarder house we cleaned out and some other homes we cleaned out. And I go over there and grab a tote, a box and a tote, a bag, whatever, and you get to open it at the same time I do and see what's in it. So I have a little box and I have a tote. I'm going to start with the tote, and as you know, I always throw the covers on the ground. So there's about 4 of these little boxes in here, and they all have old poker chips, it must be. I love old poker chips. I love the designs on them. You know, they're all also different. You know what I love about poker chips that are clay like this is I love the sound of clay poker chips when they hit each other. These are some pretty cool designs on here. I'm probably holding them upside down. Yeah, there I go. You know, for a lot of people collect these, and I would think that these have some age to them. I don't think you find cases like this, soft vinyl cases, very often. I think I'll just leave that open, like so. I'm assuming this is poker chips also. I don't think these are, oh yeah, these are clay. They're just not, they're not old like these over here. These are old. These are kind of vintage old. Not really crazy about these. You know, it's probably the ones that people still use today when they play. And I don't think they're that cool or that interesting. Got another longer one here. Ooh, we have games. We have games. Looks like we have a miniature chess game, a miniature checker game. We have some dice. Looks like we have backgammon. This is all new old stock. It's never been played with. Look at these dominoes. They're still wrapped in the plastic. You know, these are really popular for people, you know, before computers, before phones, and before the little tablets that my grandkids carry with them 24 hours a day. This is what you used to do for entertainment, kids. And moms and dads, and you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Here's another box, probably poker chips, and they are. These are cardboard. These are all cardboard chips. They're very plain. They're very lightweight. They're just cardboard. So you take a look at the new style versus the old style. You can see the ridges. The old chips are always more rounded. And why they wreck the design by making them thick and flat, I have no idea. But we're talking some poker chips. And the last one is really heavy, so I'm assuming that this is probably clay. Oh no, they're the new ones. They are clay, but they're new ones. 2 of them are still wrapped. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of these new chips. I'm such old school that, yeah, I'm just not a big fan. It looks like I have a bunch of old tins. That is a very unusual can right there. got holes in the top for it to breathe. 8 Brothers Long Cut Tobacco. Look at that can dented in. Union made. Smoke and chew. That's just cool. That's probably a pretty valuable can right there, I'm thinking. I've been doing this a long time. I've never ever seen one of those. It's a vintage, half and half. Burley and Bright tobacco. You know, looking at these cans reminds me of my grandfather who smoked a pipe, and I always love the smell of a good pipe. You know, these cans might be bringing back some memories for you too. You know, I can just smell that pipe tobacco. Here's pipe and cigarette tobacco for people who would roll their own. It's a vintage can. Ooh, no pipe tobacco here. We're talking Oscar Mayer White Clover Pure Lard. And this is an old can. It's not one of those reproductions that people have in their kitchens. That's an old can. It's pretty cool. Calumet baking powder. I don't even know if they would sell this can anymore. You know, with the Native American chief on the front. You know, with all of these baseball teams, iconic baseball teams, having to change their names. If they even make this anymore, I bet you they're not going to have that can, I would think. Here we have pickling spice. Gotta have dill in it, right? That's a cool can. It's an old can. There's some in there. I have to open that because I opened a can in a hoarder house. I brought this stuff, surgeon, and I did a video, and I opened a can, and there was like $1,000 worth of silver coins in the can, and then another can had like, I don't know, 300, 400. You know, you never know. There's not money in there, but there could be jewelry in there. I'm going to definitely have to open that. Here's another one. Grace Lake Gelatin, pure flavored. That one's full too, but that sounds like a powder in there. Now, look at that. That's a paper label on there, and it's survived all these years. I'm gonna go off focus here and see what's inside. Boy, that's old. Look at that. It's already rusting through. You know, this has got to bring back some memories for people, not just me. This is what was inside it. I recognize this blend. This is probably a vintage can. Doesn't have a barcode on it. So they both been around for a while. Here's another Plowboy, like the paper one right there. Only this is all metal. The top is split on it, and it has a barcode. So a newer can. It's post barcode instead of pre barcode. And here's another one. You know, it's like I'm either doing ashtrays or I'm doing tobacco cans. Kind of makes you wonder if all the farmers up here were big smokers. That's a cool can right there. That's 5 cents straight cigar. Wow. Never even heard of this brand. You know, look at the graphics on there. Could you imagine your dad coming home or your grandfather coming home? You know, I smoked for, I don't know, I smoked for probably 10 years. And I fought tournaments for 16 years. And I actually used to smoke a cigar after I weighed in. And before I went in the ring, I would go somewhere and sit down and smoke a cigar, and it would just calm me down. And I was only beat once in 16 years, but I always have those memories of smoking that cigar before I got in the ring. You know, probably an hour or two before I got in the ring, but before I got in the ring, some Bon Ami powder, polishing and cleaning. You know, they shook it over the top. It still got some in. I don't want to shake it up too much because I'm going to start coughing. You know, these cans are very cool. You know, talk about a lot of history. Here's a big time beat up Watkins. Petrol Carbo Salve. This can, I don't know if you can tell, but the top is pretty hammered on it. It's pretty wavy. But it's a cool can for display. And something's bouncing around in here. Union Leader smoking tobacco. I thought that might be a paper label, but that can is all metal. It's got our national bird, the bald eagle, on it. You always wonder what's in these cans, especially, you know, when a few times you hit something like I did with the silver coins. So you kind of go, yeah, this could be good. Here's a velvet. Not an old can, but it's heavy. And, wow, it's still full of tobacco. Still full of tobacco. I really want to untwist it and open it up and smell it. Yeah, I'm going to. Be patient with me here. I want to know if it still has that really good tobacco fragrance to it after all these years. Oh, it smells so good. It really does. Pipe tobacco. Let's seal it back up to keep that freshness in. Oh my gosh. You know, when I was down in Arkansas, when Cheryl and I were down there, I really made a lot of friends with the Southerners. You know, we just got along so well. And I met this guy, Leroy O'Neill, and I was friends with him probably the final 6 years that I was down there. And Leroy was quite the guy. I miss him dearly, I really do. I just found out a couple months ago that he had died. But yeah, I'll tell the story someday. Just a really good guy. The people of the South are good people. I miss them. I really do. Wow, look at this old Folgers coffee can. That's a paper label that has survived all these years. It's a puzzle. Oh my gosh. A Folgers puzzle. Free when you buy Folgers vacuum or flaked coffee. That's cool right there. That's very cool. Never heard of a Folgers puzzle. It's another velvet can, similar to this first one here. Definitely from the same era. And we have 3 more. Wow, baking powder. You know, if these cans strike any memories with you, I would love to hear them. We do this for you. You know, this is what I do, you know, almost every day. I'm always buying. Today I was in 3 different towns, on 2 different farms looking at items. And we do this for you, to bring this out and bring back the memories that you might have by seeing these items that are buried away in basements and attics and cellars and garages. You know, bringing them out and putting them back in circulation so people can enjoy them. You know, a lot of things that I find, I grab onto and I hold and I smile, you know, and former Marine Corps, you know, fought a lot of years, but some of these things bring tears to my eyes, they really do. And I'm a pretty tough guy. You know, I love the history. Yeah, I love the memories. Got some single tobacco tins. Model smoking tobacco. Prince Albert's pretty common. Half and half. I had some of those a couple of videos ago. And another Prince Albert. So that's just a really cool display right there. A lot of colors, a lot of graphics. And I have one big shoebox to go. And I hope I have some room here, since I don't know what's in it. Looks like a mixture of things. I don't think I didn't load this box. I have no idea what's in here. Looks like, well, it looks like a military newspaper. Yeah, Staff Sergeant Emma Willard, December 1945. A message from the transport commander. So she must have been in transport. I have to read this. You know, I started, when I was in 3rd grade, I started wearing military badges on my Levi jackets. Yeah, in 3rd grade. And I've been a big collector of military items. And, you know, being former Marine Corps, I love looking throughout this history. Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs coupon book. Well, this is somebody's life. Somebody that sacrificed a lot of time, and maybe even sacrificed their life and gave it so we can all be safe, so I can do what I do, and all of us can do what we do. You can't ever take that for granted, ever. Pillow speaker. Come on, pillow speaker. Wow, that's what it is. You know, I wondered if they plug these into radios and laid them on their pillow and listened to music when they were going to bed, so they didn't keep everybody else awake. It's an Identiband. I think I have a couple of these. Passion Academy Gold Medal. They awarded. Has to be military. Has to be something that somebody bought, maybe for a wife or a girlfriend. Snakebite kit, suction. Military. I actually have one of these that I carried with me when I was picking down south, because I would lift things up that were laying on the ground and there would be copperhead snakes underneath what I was picking up, and you never knew when you were going to get bit, so you kept a suction device to try to get a lot of the poison out while you're making arrangements to get to a hospital. It's a reading light. Wow, it's that little. This must have been for a veteran also. Oh, it's got, excuse me, I gotta, yeah. You would clip that to your headboard, I bet. And that cord is old. It looks like it's never been used. That would go in like that. There's a light bulb for it. And there's the box. I mean, you know, I hope you're having as much fun as I am, because all of these things meant something to somebody. You know, this young man or young woman was a long ways away from home, and didn't really know what was going to happen with their life. It's a trench art ashtray. Trench art. They would make these out of shells, ashtrays, lamps, you know, made out of the brass shell casings. A lot of ashtrays were made, very collectible. It's called trench art. That's a very simplistic piece, but a cool piece nonetheless. This must have been a first aid packet. Bandage compressors. Looks like there's some liquid items in there to put on a wound and wrap a wound. Wow. Old buttons. Flashlight magnifier. Some of you guys have had to have these things. Wow, it's never been used. That's called new old stock right there. New old stock means it's new in condition, old in age, and of course it's stock. Ah, I love this stuff. I love this stuff so much. It's a metal box. Looks like it's a cigarette container. Player's Navy cut. Doesn't feel like there's cigarettes in there. Maybe there's. Oh wow. This is a signaling mirror. This is a signaling mirror, so how can I explain it? If you were in the woods, up in the mountain, in the jungles, and you needed to send a signal to a plane to let them know your position, or to identify yourself as friendly, you would use the sun. And you probably have seen this in movies, even old westerns, where you would flash this in the sun and it would be a bright light, and you could actually probably Morse code signals with this. I would think that pilots would have carried these in case they were shot down. That piece has probably got some history behind it. It's a real old thin belt. Military belt, which we all know what they are. I'm not going to unwrap it. Some earphones. Dynamic earphones. Yeah, that's what's in there. Oh, wow. What do we have here? We have some old ammunition, and it's live ammo. Wow. I'm not sure what kind of rounds those are. Wow, that would come out of a shell, and I don't know if it's probably 2.5 inches by maybe 3/8 of an inch wide. You would hate to get hit by that. This ammo, I'm sure, is still stable. That looks like a 45, which you would see our soldiers carrying on their hips in the old movies. There's another 45. No, I have Smith & Wessons. I love Smith & Wessons, and somebody asked me once, why do you have a 45 caliber? A 45 is a big caliber, you can tell by the size of that. And I told them because they don't make a 46. You know, it's a good peacekeeper. Wow. If I would have known these were in this box, I probably would have removed them before. I've been throwing the boxes around in a storage unit. There's another belt. Wow. Wonder how many games of cards were played with that. That rubber band is so hard. Look at it, just broke from being dried out. Miniature deck of cards right there. Looks like the GI went and bought a brand new wallet and never used it. At the PX, which is the store on base, some earplugs. You see these, you know, clamped to the shoulder a lot of times of soldiers when they're out in the field. And one last box. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Patches? Wonder what the significance is of that dart. Wow. Wonder what the significance is. A lot of stuff. You know, this is a crucifix. Yeah. Very cool stuff. Very cool. You know, the military stuff, again, is real special to me. So, this is what I got. This is what I brought out of the storage unit today. And, you know, there's a lot of military things that were handled by military personnel probably during World War II. I don't think it's as new as Korea, probably World War II. And then old tins. Looks like mostly tobacco, a couple lard, but mostly tobacco tins. And then the chips, the old style clay, which I love, the new style clay, which I don't love. You know, your traveling car game for the kids. Some old cardboard, and then again, the new chips, which I don't like. I don't know how long this video is, but I appreciate you hanging out with me. There's a lot of stuff here. Again, today I went on 3 houses, couple houses, were a couple farms, and didn't really find much on 2 of them, but I'm going in on Monday, and I'm going to be spending about a half a day in a farm, grabbing stuff, buying stuff. So I'll probably do a video of that. And subscribe, please. Again, we do this for you. We love the comments. We get excited every time we get 1 subscriber. It just means a lot to us that you guys are liking our videos. And, you know, come along with us all summer and hang with us and go on some pics with us. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.